So it looks like the Pokemon TCG Pocket app is only going from strength to strength, as the official Twitter account announced 60 million downloads of the app worldwide, which is pretty significant as the app was downloaded half of that amount in the first 9 days, which at that point already made Pokemon TCG Pocket the third best-selling Pokemon app of all time. Now that it's doubled its downloads, it's tough to say if it's moved up into the second or even first place. Pokemon TCG Pocket has outsold Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon Unite, and the only two above that is Pokemon Masters EX and Pokemon Go. We should also add that's in terms of lifetime revenue. Pokemon Go has been out for a very, very long time, and the TCG Pocket app has only been out for about 2 months now. Whilst I don't think it will surpass Pokemon Go in terms of revenue, I do see it surpassing Pokemon Masters EX. So just how much money has TCG Pocket made for Pokemon? Well, according to a Pocket Gamers report citing data from App Magic, it claims that TCG Pocket made $208 million in gross revenue in its first month, with its lowest day of spending, which is October 30th, its release date, only making a measly $2.7 million in its first day, with its most profitable day in November 22nd seeing a staggering $8.4 million in revenue. So it'll be interesting to see just how much more money they'll make with this new mini set coming out in a couple of days. I'd probably go as far to say that Nintendo maybe didn't expect this amount of revenue from the app in this short amount of time. Because remember, at the moment, whilst it's still in its infancy, Pokemon TCG Pocket is earning 3 times more than Pokemon Go. As for Pokemon TCG Live, supposedly it actually loses money for the company. It doesn't really earn any money directly from the app, and probably, if anything, it hopes to earn the company money overall by boosting physical sales. So really, this is the first ever time that a Pokemon TCG app is actually earning the company any money at all. We know it's unique based on the fact that we're seeing cards and booster packs exclusive to the app, and the battle aspect is completely different to its physical counterpart. Actually, one interesting bit of information from Pokebench was that Japanese players spent more money on the app than any other audience, and by a large margin, coming in at 45% of the app's $12.1 million total revenue. United States came in at second with only 25%. What's also more interesting is that only 4% of the player base is Japanese, so 4% of that audience contributes 45% of the revenue, whereas the United States accounts for 29% of all the downloads and only 25% of all the revenue. The rest was Brazil at 11% of audience, Mexico at 6%, France, UK and Thailand at 4%. I guess it just shows how much Japan loves Pokemon. But right now, I think it's safe to say that the app's biggest issue right now, and it will get worse over time if not addressed, is that the special events are kinda a little lackluster, with the first one simply being win 45 games and the second one being win 5 games in a row. As for Wonder Pick, the Chansey Pick was a cool little mini event, but all it did was use a pre-existing feature and just slap some promo cards in there. Same with the Lapras EX and Venusaur events, it's just fighting the AI with an almost identical deck as its standard water and grass decks in the solo events that are there forever. The app is in its infancy, so I think it's fair not to judge the fact that the events are small in size as of right now. The app has barely just established its user base, but if any online surface game has shown us, its first 90 or so days really dictates how many players will stay after downloading. A new mini set will certainly keep players interested as they collect new cards and try new metas. But after a month or so, fans are just going to start expecting something completely new to keep their attention. Like, for example, one thing we've seen happen a lot during private matches is specific game modes that the app doesn't provide. Like the No EX private match, where players try decks without the EX selection of Pokemon. I think introducing it officially as a temporary game mode would be a great idea. And what about those 20-minute timers next to each player's name? What if there was a game mode like Bullet Chess, where you had to play as fast as you could, as each player only gets 3 or 5 minutes of game time total per game? And whoever runs out of time before getting 3 points loses. Perhaps a double energy mode where you get 2 energy per turn. As for AI matches, what about a boss battle where you go against a huge HP single card? Could be a really cool way to introduce union cards into the app. I feel like these are the type of game modes and updates that should be expected from Pokemon TCG Pocket if it wants to keep people interested beyond just collecting the cards. And I'm a little worried that the Pokemon Company and DNA weren't prepared for the game's massive success and are rapidly rushing new features. Features that may not hit the expectations of fans when they do arrive. But these are all the worst case scenarios, right? The Pokemon Company is a billion-dollar behemoth and probably has the capability to have DNA expand at a sizable rate to match demand for the product. Besides, we have this mini set, Mythical Island, and then a completely new set with 200 plus cards in January. So it's not like they don't have anything planned on top of that. We saw from the press release of the mini set that there are new solo missions coming that will help you learn how the new cards work before you fight against other players. Still the same existing feature, but at least it's new cards that makes it a little more interesting. And that brings me on to the next huge issue Pokemon Pocket will face. It's pay to win. We all know this. The less cards you have, the less likely you'll be able to utilize meta decks that have the highest win rates. Sure, you could put together cheap decks like Blaine Aggro early on, but what if you're unlucky enough to not pull a single Ninetales? That's nearly 300 pack points you'd have to spend to get 2 of them, which requires you to open 60 packs. If you're completely free to play, that's a whole month of opening packs before you have enough points. With just one set and over 250 cards to collect, that's not the end of the world. You can eventually pull together a meta-worthy deck within a week or so. But as new sets get introduced, those 2 packs a day limit will not be worthwhile anymore, because there's no doubt in my mind that the Pokemon Company will make you choose which type of booster pack to open with that limitation. You could say they'll increase the pack points per pack open when the current set is no longer the latest, but maybe the Pokemon Company won't do that, as it encourages hoarding hourglasses when you know they'll eventually have to release another set, especially when a lot of those cards in that set aren't adding much to the meta. According to Mistplay, their survey stated that 77% of players give up on the app when they feel it's too pay to win. Whereas our other previous point of there being a lack of in-game events are why 31% of players leave. So it's a serious issue that could see Pokemon Pocket plateau over the year if it's not addressed. My solution would be that the pack point exchange amounts will decrease with each new set being released. That way, it still allows free-to-play players to complete sets after they've been out for well over 6 months. And it still encourages people to open packs when a new set is released. Plus, it doesn't reward players who hold on to their hourglasses. So that's where I see the Pokemon TCG Pocket app right now. It has a few issues that it needs to address in the next 3 to 6 months. But the best thing about this is that they're really easy to address. I think some of the solutions are really easily added. We just need really good features. We need new features that kind of add new metas. I kind of get sick playing the same deck over and over again because it's just the highest win rate. And since you get no rewards when you lose a match, rightly so it doesn't get abused, at least make new features where I'm not having to just play Mewtwo EX every single time, because it's the only set of cards that I have that are meta-worthy. But anyway, that's my thoughts. What do you think about this? Do you agree with me that Nintendo needs to add new big ideas pretty fast? Or is this just an overreaction and that they're actually doing really well right now and not too many new features needed to be added as of right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as I read them all. And for more Pokemon videos, you can check out this one that will be appearing on the end screen now.